Today on the Daily Dollar, we are taking a deep dive into Facebook. Meta. Metabook? Or Metaface? I should definitely trademark those. Get it? Mark? No? Anyway, Meta has been creating a lot of attention for itself, and it's been going as well as their reputation. Stock prices down, recent management accusations, and press so bad both Democrats and Republicans agree Meta is bad for society. Not to mention whatever this is. Yeah, this was the future we all wanted. Meta has been disappointing shareholders, users, and creators for quite a while now. Most companies try to avoid or minimize bad publicity, while Meta has made itself a dystopian meme. Let's uncover why Meta hasn't been performing. Figuring out how they got here may lead them in the direction they need to go. As always, like, subscribe, and keep watching Daily Dollar. To nobody's surprise, Meta's stock has been underwhelming. After having its first user decline, the stock plunged over 50%. In Meta's defense, this was bound to happen eventually. There's only so many people in the world after all. The shareholders and analysts should have known better, but hey, that's the market for you. Meta's revenue growth has been strong over the last few years, grossing $117.9 billion in 2021. This is the culmination of a year-over-year revenue growth in excess of 30% over the last 4 years. While the pandemic definitely boosted those numbers, it's clear Meta can make money. Twitter, Snapchat, and Pinterest aren't even in the same league. TikTok and YouTube are the closest competitors, with the first going through growing pains and the second not nearly as profitable as Meta. Speaking of profit, Meta is still growing here too, but not as fast as their revenue. With an EBT of $47 billion, it's hard to complain, but Wall Street always finds a way. Meta's profit margin has slipped from nearly 50% in 2017 to 39% in 2021. This is still an exceptionally profitable company despite the recent slide, but it has raised concerns. The primary reason for this has been the increase in privacy concerns that have motivated device makers, primarily Apple, to start defending users from overly invasive apps and trackers. This kneecapped Meta's profit. They will need time to find alternatives, whether that be a new tactic or revenue diversification. The second reason profits declined was the increased R&D cost allocated to the Oculus and the Metaverse venture. These projects have already been expensive, especially for an industry that doesn't currently exist. Shareholders are becoming concerned about the direction and leadership of the company as a result. Meta generates a lot of advertisement revenue with strong profit margins. Its biggest obstacle is the lack of diversification and the increasingly tense privacy debate. The recent spending spree on the Metaverse projects will definitely have an impact on the income statement if this becomes an annual expense. Despite this, Meta is still an industry leader, with the revenues other social media competitors dream of, but it lacks a clear direction for the future. Mark started with a website to connect him with his college friends, almost accidentally creating a social media giant. Mark is an idealist. He thought that connecting the world would be a good thing. However, social media is about people and society. Those come with a Meta amount of problems. But I believe society has benefited from social media. What often goes untold is all the memes we laugh at, the new people and communities we meet, and the passions we explore with like-minded individuals. No longer bound by distance and circumstance, we can see the world like never before, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Meta long ignored the problems that creeped into social media over the years. Technology will not solve a problem like this. This has truly blown my mind over the years. Meta is the worst innovator out of all the tech giants by far. A company with no supply chains, no brick-and-mortar locations, and no physical products besides Oculus. Theoretically, it should be one of the most agile companies you could possibly have with equivalent income. Consider how capital intensive in both labor and infrastructure an oil company, a retailer, or a product maker would have compared to Meta. They would have 5 to 10 times as many employees, anywhere from dozens to thousands of locations and facilities, and supply chains that circle the globe. Despite not having the burdens and bureaucracy of traditional companies, Meta has little to show for innovation, besides the initial creation of Facebook itself. The best thing the company has done was acquire Instagram and WhatsApp. While both were highly strategic and lucrative purchases, Meta has not contributed any real innovation. That would go to the founders of each company respectively. You might be saying that don't all companies copy each other and buy startups for their ideas? Yes, they do, but they also typically enhance or improve upon those ideas and startups. Meta has done neither, debatably making them worse, with the privacy intrusions on WhatsApp and the anti-content creator attitude on Instagram. Not to mention the poorly implemented features and attributes copied from Snapchat, YouTube, and TikTok. While this is not uncommon in the industry, as the largest and most profitable social media company, Meta should be leading the industry, not following it. Instead of working on bringing innovative solutions to their core business, they went on a billion-dollar metaverse spending spree, going as far as changing their name to it. The metaverse is theoretically a digital multiverse that people could take their avatar to different worlds, play games, catch up with friends and family, and buy stuff. If it sounds like a video game, it basically is. Think Sims, but as expensive as real life. Oh boy, let's go through this real quick. It does not currently exist. A truly functional metaverse is at least 10 years away, likely more. It requires 3 things to make, none of which Meta is good at. Hardware, which will likely be powered by Nvidia, AMD, and Intel if it catches up, while the devices will probably be made by Apple and Microsoft, with Sony and Samsung as possible runner-ups. Content, which would likely be dominated by the gaming giants. This could go in a lot of directions. Microsoft, Tencent, Sony, and Epic are best positioned to take advantage if it ever becomes lucrative. Lastly, trust, Meta's weakest link. A metaverse would need to be built on an open source framework that allows a link between hardware, software, and content. This can't be controlled or owned by any one company, or it would just be a really big game. This is most likely to be built on blockchain technology. The backbone for transactions, profiles, and security is likely to be Ethereum, with many other possible contenders. Nobody sees Meta as a real player except for Mark apparently. Some say the metaverse is in its early stages, like the internet in the 90s, or smartphones in the late thousands, but AOL, Yahoo, and Nokia all proved being first doesn't matter. Being the most refined and well-timed matters. Apple didn't invent the smartphone, they simplified it. Google wasn't the first search engine, they refined it until it was the best. Facebook wasn't the first social media, but they made it simple, scalable, and profitable. And they all entered their industries at the right time, after the technology became feasible, and immediately before mass user adoption. Social media over the years has gained a reputation of intrusion and exploitation. Despite this, Meta stands head and shoulders above the rest, and not simply because of their size. Industries with negative reputations like oil or tobacco typically attempt to stay out of the news and keep its business behind closed doors. Meta has been both openly hypocritical and reckless. They try to put on a facade of privacy while literally doing the opposite. They share user data with other companies or even hostile nations, but then use it for even more nefarious reasons than just advertising. Meta is a company that will most likely never have a good reputation. Instead of trying to act the hero, they should embrace the evil empire they built. They need to keep their head down, data in-house, and find the balance between user privacy and community backlash. Disclaimer: this part is largely opinion and speculation. Mark should step down and step away from Meta. I believe he is overly invested and no longer provides value to Meta's future. Every founder needs to step away eventually. Bill Gates, the Google founders, even Jeff Bezos did. Steve Jobs' departure was accelerated by health, but he prepared Tim Cook to take over. Mark refuses to step away, despite contributing very little for years now, and there doesn't seem to be a clear successor being prepared either. Mark, you could always start a space company. It's rather trendy amongst billionaires these days. You have a lot of money, try something new. It's normal to be emotionally invested in a company you created, but nothing lasts forever. Meta may be down, but it's not out yet. It is still the largest social media company. It has the money. It has the talent. Now it needs the leadership. Meta needs to lead the social media industry, not follow it. Let me know if you think Meta is a good investment, was the best in the past, or does it have a strong future ahead of it? As always, like, subscribe, and keep watching The Daily Dollar.